What if I told you that you could change your life in just 5 seconds? I know, it sounds like some cheesy late-night infomercial, but we're about to dive into a rule that is so simple it's almost deceptive, and millions of people swear by it. Let's get into it.
It really all kicks off with claims just like this one. I saw this on Reddit and it just stopped me in my tracks. A user saved over $3,000 in just 3 weeks. Now that is a pretty wild claim that just begs the question, how on earth is that even possible with a rule that only takes 5 seconds?
Just look at that number, over $3,000. The real question here isn't just about the money, It's about what kind of mental tool could possibly be powerful enough to literally interrupt our worst habits and get results like this.
So to really understand its power, we have to go right back to the beginning. And it doesn't start with some grand, complicated plan. Nope, it starts with a simple, almost desperate idea, to launch yourself out of bed like a rocket.
So here's the rule itself. It's basically a way to outsmart your own brain. The second you have an instinct to do something, to act on a goal, you have to count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then physically move. That countdown, that's the secret weapon. It's designed to stop that hesitation, that little pause where our brain talks us out of everything.
And the process is actually pretty fascinating when you break it down. That countdown isn't just random. Counting backwards actually forces your brain to focus, and that distracts it from its favorite activity, making up excuses. So by the time you hit 1, you've created this tiny little window to basically hijack your own mind and just go.
Now this is why the rule feels so real to so many people. It wasn't invented in a lab somewhere. It came out of a genuine human struggle. The creator, Mel Robbins, was 41 years old, her family was facing financial ruin, and she was so overwhelmed she literally could not get out of bed. She was stuck in what she called a habit loop of just hitting the snooze button over and over and over.
So then one night, she's watching TV and sees a rocket launch. She hears that countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and something just clicks, an instinct. She thought, that's it. Tomorrow she wouldn't just get out of bed, she would launch out of bed. It sounds so silly, so simple, but that one idea, that was the one that changed everything.
So how did this one woman's personal breakthrough turn into a tool that people all over the world are using? Well, let's take a look at the rule in action.
And this brings us right back to our friend from Reddit. The moment he felt that urge, that impulse to buy another $1,000 suit that he knew he didn't need, he'd use the rule. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and he'd close the browser. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and he'd put his wallet away. Each one of those tiny interruptions started adding up, to the tune of over $3,000. But it's not just about these big dramatic moments. For so many people, it's about winning that very first battle of the day. You know the one. The alarm goes off, your entire body and brain scream, no! But that little countdown gives you a way to fight back. Say yes, and just get your feet on the floor.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Its power goes way beyond just productivity and into our emotional lives. As this user points out, that countdown can create a critical pause. Instead of just reacting with anger or bursting into tears, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 becomes this amazing tool to find just a moment of calm and choose your response.
Okay, so at this point, it probably sounds like a total cure-all, right? Well, not quite. To really get how this tool works, we've got to look at its limitations. Think of it like a powerful spark, but you still have to be the one to build the fire.
This review just puts it perfectly. The 5-second rule is absolutely brilliant for creating that initial spark you need to get moving. But if you want real, long-term, sustainable change, you've got to pair it with other strategies. So the key takeaway here is understanding what kind of tool this is. Think of the 5-second rule as your ignition button. It's for that moment you need to overcome inertia. Something like James Clear's Atomic Habits, on the other hand, that's like the blueprint for building the whole car, designing your environment, stacking your habits for the long haul. They actually work best together.
And of course, you have the practical, and let's be honest, kind of funny limitations. Reddit users rightly asked, what if you have a brilliant idea in the shower? You can't just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and sprint out soaking wet to your laptop. The consensus seems to be that the rule is for when you can act, but you won't. For all those shower thoughts, maybe just get a waterproof notepad.
So all this brings us to the final, and maybe the most profound piece of this whole idea. We've talked a lot about the how, but now let's dig into the why.
So is this rule just a clever little trick to get more stuff done? A way to optimize your to-do list and feel more productive?
Or is it actually something much deeper? Is it a tool for practicing courage?
Not like superheroes saving the world courage, but the small, everyday kind of courage that really changes a life.
Think about this incredible example of Rosa Parks. When people asked her if she had planned her historic act of defiance, her refusal to give up her seat, she said no. It wasn't some grand, thought-out strategy. In that moment, an instinct for what was right took over, and she just acted. It was a 5-second decision, and it changed the world.
And it's not an isolated case. When Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was nominated to lead the boycott that followed, he accepted right there on the spot. He later said that if he'd actually had time to think it through, to let the fear and the doubt and the hesitation creep in, he probably would have said no. So often greatness happens in that 5-second window. And that right there is the core idea. The 5-second rule doesn't give you courage. It's a tool to help you find the courage that is already inside you. It's about pushing yourself, one 5-second decision at a time, to do the things that feel hard or scary or just plain uncertain.
So in the end, the rule really just leaves us with this one powerful question. Whether it's saving $3,000 or finally getting out of bed on time, or just having the courage to speak your mind, the moments that define us so often come down to a choice that happens in 5 seconds. Your heart and your gut are telling you what to do. The only question is, what are you waiting for?